we've played it pretty safe with social, but we've definitely had times where we put a lot of effort into a post or a carousel or a reel, and you spend all this time editing it and putting it together, and then it doesn't do as well as you think it's going to, and then like a one-off post on a Saturday, a static image does like super well, and it's like, okay, what are we doing? You just look at the numbers and try to figure it out.
Welcome to Fierce Builder Podcast. I'm Mark Williams, the host. Today we're live from Mesa Hoos. I've got Alyssa Abbott, longtime friend of the podcast. She's been on before, and she's out from Sacramento, flew in for our big Mesa Hoos event. And I've got Mary, I don't even know your last name, I just call you Mary.
Clark.
Mary Clark with Pella Socials. So she's up from Pella, Iowa. She handles all the social media for Pella on the national level as well. Welcome, ladies, to the Mesa Hoos studio. So today we are going to be chatting about losers or winners. And since you guys are both experts kind of in the social media realm, SEO, and all the wonderful things that you do, Alyssa, I thought it'd be kind of fun to share with the audience, like, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you've either made or that you've seen in our industry? Just think of how many builders and architects and designers that listen to the show. Everyone in the world that we live in has to navigate social media. What are some mistakes that you've made or you've seen, or Alyssa, that you've seen me make, just to kind of share? And then what are the lessons that we've sort of learned through some of them?
I can go first. Yeah. Really good question. I think the first thing that comes to my mind specifically with mistakes is, this kind of goes across the board, even aside from Pella, but for designers, people in the food industry, just thinking that if something's a trend, you have to jump on it. I don't think that because something is trending, you have to necessarily make yourself smaller to fit into that box. And I think with social, a lot of the time brands and businesses feel that pressure to hop on viral moments and trending moments. But it can sometimes do the opposite of what you think it's going to do. So that's one thing, especially at Pella, we try to be really cognizant of, is if we are going to hop on a trend or a viral moment, it has to make sense for our audience and who we're trying to connect with.
So basically, like, it should stay authentic. Like,
Absolutely.
If whatever the trend thing is authentic too, in your case, Pella,
yes,
then sure, that makes a lot of sense because it aligns with, say, your core marketing strategies.
Totally.
It's funny you say that because in the early days of social media, of course, Alyssa was there for this for me, but it's like my wife used to manage up my social media account, which led to some great marital tension. And as she married Jim Carrey, I would often be a little silly over the top, or I would love to try to do like, I'd see some funny movie thing, and that was what I wanted to do because I'd see the laughs, because it's what I consume. Mm-hmm. And my wife, wisely, she's right. Melissa, you're right, honey. She would say, as if she's going to listen to this episode. She might, because you ladies are on it. But anyway, the point being is, she said, you're building a multi-million dollar home. They don't want Jim Carrey as their builder. And she's right, to be a little more professional or to be more, but you also can't change who you are. Like, at the end of the day, they're going to get Jim Carrey one way or another. Just might be live and in person. But anyway, my point in bringing it up is, like, be authentic, I think is what I'm hearing when you say that.
Yeah. Be authentic, but also showcase personality. I think you do a really good job of that too. Being authentic, being professional, but all of your social content is still very you. And even seeing what I've seen on social and also seeing you in real life, like it's very you through and through. And I think with social, where it's going to authenticity and just personality is also very important too. Not being overly polished or super prim and proper. I think that's very important too with social.
I think it's real. I mean, you look at even like with AI, and the videos are getting so good. I mean, it's getting harder and harder. Every year it'll get more and more difficult to understand what's real. I think the personality quirks of humanity will be what is obviously will lead people more to sales and consumer content.
Totally.
Last week you were up here for the influencer event that we had, and you guys sent me the blooper reel. Oh, we have to show Alyssa the blooper reel.
Great.
It's super funny. And I just think people appreciate the real moments. Like Callie Sunbrook, shout out to her. She posted a video literally today that we're recording from Beachside Custom Gyms. And she had Kaylee Lemoyne, who was filming her. This is like 4 months ago. She was up here, or 3 months ago. She was setting up the gym that you can see out the window there. And, she was just going on and on about all the mistakes she was making. And she posted the video today. And I'm like, it was so endearing. I sent her a text, or I commented on her post. I think I like this video more than I liked like the actual finished video, because it's real, it's funny, it's relatable. I still got educated and understood the content, but like I got more out of that, honestly.
Totally.
What do you see, Alyssa, in terms of, you do all my blog writing for Mark Williams, Misa Hoos, Curious Builder. If I had a
do.
personal one, you'd do that one
I
too.
would in a heartbeat.
What do you see in terms of authenticity?
I think that is something that I am facing a lot lately with the world of AI and how everything is, you can just write stuff up really quick. And I think the authenticity, that is what people crave. That's what they're drawn to. And so content, whether it's on Instagram, a blog, an email, all of those things, people relate in a much deeper way when it's real, when it's authentic. And that's really been something I've been focusing on a lot lately as I've been navigating what do we do with all of this AI stuff. That's something we'll all continue to learn and engage
I just
with.
had an idea, and guess who's gonna help me execute it? You. I was just thinking, like, what if we actually did a blog, and you wrote it, and then we wrote another blog, but have AI write it, and put them side by side,
Yeah.
and literally see which one performs better.
That'd be interesting.
How would someone actually do that? Other than I know how you'd write the article, whatever it
Yeah.
is, but how would you actually test A and B out there?
I don't know if you could do, I mean, I know you can do A/B testing in emails and things like that. So I mean, you could do it that way. You could do you could just do two blogs, and even if they weren't like identical, you could probably run them one right after the other, post them at the same time, and just see which one does better.
Interesting. Don't you think?
No, that would be really interesting because I know, I mean, I had conversations, we had the mixer today, and I had conversations with people about AI, and some builders use it to do their blogs, and I definitely, that's something I'm facing. That's something right now that we'll see if I'm a loser or not. But I think that storytelling aspect, whether it's Instagram and you really you tell a story in a caption or you tell a story in a video versus what I do where we're telling stories.
I mean, because there's video companies now. I've been approached by them before where they can create a video avatar for you. It doesn't even have to be you. It could be like I could look like you ladies, which would be way more attractive. And basically, they're selling Mark Williams custom homes.
Yeah.
And like the video, you could create. So you could. What I understand it is you could create, let's say, a Mary avatar, and maybe are you familiar with like the Henrys? Yeah. So high income, earning, not yet rich. Then let's say Alyssa's avatar for Mark Williams Custom Homes could be like the baby boom generation or whatever 4 demographics you want. And then I would take those videos and I would market them, with Alyssa's face content, her talking about her homes, but it's all AI generated video. None of it's real. But yet I guess what I'm curious is like, I don't know what the cost of that is, but you're putting a lot of, let's call it bullets in the air if you're going bird hunting. Like that's going to hit a lot of targets. I'm curious, and I think the biggest combat that people would say is like, yes, an article that you write, because to be clear, like but I know I have 3-4 years of working with you, and like you understand my voice, you make it easier for me to get out of me. So I think that creative talent in the writing, I think it's real. I read them. I want them to represent my voice. I guess my question is like, do you think I wonder what percentage of people out there that are putting it out there were like, well, it's good enough. Like, what if is it 70% or 80%? And there's a cost side of it for sure. But I think the thing that they would be undervaluing is the end user.
Yeah.
Like if they don't know the difference, and then if you're attracting clients that aren't really your people because the person they're attracted to doesn't actually exist. I don't know the answers to these questions, but I would imagine you're going to face these a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, again, it goes back to there's a lot more than just writing a blog or having ChatGPT write a blog or Claude.
This episode is brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors. I've used Pella for 21 years as the exclusive window company on every one of my builds. When people ask me who I trust for windows and doors, it's Pella, every time. Their craftsmanship, their innovation, the top-tier service make them a no-brainer for any custom home builder or designer who demand the best. Whether you're designing something bold or building something with timeless elegance, Pella has you covered. They're also the only window company that has a lifetime warranty on all of their windows. I've gotten to know all of their people at Pella Corporate, as well as locally here at Pella Northland. I'm proud to call them our partners and our friends. Visit Pella.com to learn more and connect with your local reps today. Also, for more information, you can listen to episode 1, where I interview their founders, as well as episode 109, where we talk about the innovation at Pella.
for us, we're diving into all the keyword research. We're diving into a strategy more than just one blog. And so hopefully when, someone's thinking about doing that, I mean, it's not necessarily going to just take the time off their plate and they're going to do it in 5 minutes of writing. There's still a lot. And so if you want to really have a productive blog or a productive piece of content, it has to kind of be within that strategy. And I see a lot of people just throw content up and it doesn't perform because there's no thought to it in that way. Whereas with us, we're building out the strategy. We're putting together even like things like all the metadata behind a blog, the photos, all of that is optimized. And it takes a lot of time and a lot of work. And so certainly you could write a blog. That's totally fine and dandy. But to actually put it in and have it be a part of your strategy, it takes a lot of time.
I think part of it, like anything, when you don't understand it or you don't know how the tool works, I think then it's easy to sort of minimize it. But that'd be true of like, honestly, we're sitting in this beautiful home, right? Like I was here. Everyone loves the plaster. You guys didn't see Scott Porter in ties, but they were here for like 45 days doing this. Like the amount of work that goes into executing this finished product, or the windows. We're looking at triple pane Pella Reserve windows, right? Like the R&D that goes into it. And we see the end result, which is great. That's what I sell. And sometimes as a consumer, they don't need to know the whole story, but I do believe that you can feel the whole story, even if you don't understand it all. And I think sitting in Misa, who's here, kind of a shameless plug to that, is that, well, for years, people would come through our homes and they'd say, I don't know what's different about your homes, but your homes feel different. And I used to not like that compliment because I didn't know what to do with it. But, Maya Angelou really helped me understand it, which is people forget what you say, but they never forget how you're made to feel. And really, when we sat down to create Misa, that was the whole point of the house, is you don't need to know all the things that I hope you do. I hope you've been following the journey. And even if you don't, we have these conveniently placed cue cards everywhere around the house so that'll tell you the stories. But even in absence of that, the home will it will feel different, because I do believe you can infuse craftsmanship and storytelling into your actual work. Mary, what are some, how long have you been at Pella now on the social sides?
I'll be at a year in July.
Okay,
so I'm still pulling the new card.
New card.
Yep.
What are some mistakes? I just think they're fun. Like, have you, what would be like some mistakes? Like, you launched, there's no simple stuff, probably like, hey, we launched a video and you can always edit it. I'm trying to think of like what would be sort of like, I'm trying to think of some of the mistakes I've made in social media, like bad edits, bad cuts, bad audio. I think audio is probably one of the worst ones.
Audio is hard. Yeah, choosing audio, especially a lot of the trending audio you want to use on social, because that can help boost you in the algorithms. But a lot of the trending audio pieces aren't necessarily like PG all the time. So that can sometimes get you in like murky water, even though it does really well on social and it's a catchy song. It's not always like the safest choice. So Wayne, like, do we want to use a trending song and one that's like viral, or do we want to play it safe and do something a little bit more conservative? Pella, we've played it pretty safe with social, but we've definitely had times where we put a lot of effort into a post or a carousel or a reel, and you spend all this time editing it and putting it together, and then it doesn't do as well as you think it's going to. And then like a one-off post on a Saturday, a static image does like super well, and it's like, okay. What are we doing? You just look at the numbers and try to figure it out. So not a ton of failure. When you were talking a little bit ago about just like one-off posting, not necessarily with Pella, but in the past, I think there's been a lot of pressure to be like, oh, we have to post 5 times a week without having a lot of strategy behind it. And one thing I've learned is consistency matters more than just posting. So I'd rather have 3 really good posts every week with strategy and thought behind them, instead of just posting 5 random things just to have 5 posts on our feed. I think that's really important too. That's been a big takeaway for me in social.
Do you think, being a small company like myself or like Alyssa's, what benefits and advantages do you think we have as social media creators and content creators? I mean, there's a whole industry from it, right? Like, I mean, to be clear, like Pella is one of my biggest sponsors. Like, I get paid to generate content, but I'm also a home builder that puts it all in. What are some advantages? I think what I want to go with a little bit this is that so many of the people that listen to the podcast have small businesses, and a lot of them have been, maybe they're just getting into social media, or they're like, a lot of them don't like to do it, but they feel like they have to, which is why you need people like Alyssa on your team, or a social media team that helps you. I guess my question is from your point of view as a bigger company, what advantages do you see that the smaller businesses have over, say, a bigger corporation? Because I think there's some big ones. I'm curious to hear it from your point of view.
Yeah, bigger corporation, you obviously have a lot more eyes, and just internally, a lot of people have a lot of opinions. So a lot of approvals, we've done things a certain way for a long time, really having to prove changes you want to make. And that's just kind of a corporate thing. It can take longer to get things done. On a smaller scale, you really have that freedom and flexibility to make it whatever you want to make it. And I think even, I don't know, 5-10 years ago, there was a really big push on having a large number of following. That meant a lot on social media, where I feel like today it's kind of the opposite. I don't think that follower count necessarily resonates as much as it used to. And having a smaller audience can sometimes be a little bit more authentic, and people resonate with that more than a big corporate company. They have a lot more trust. They can see themselves more locally. It's not going to be as branded or feel as like product heavy like a lot of big corporate companies sometimes feel. So I feel you have like a little bit more flexibility and just some more freedom being on a smaller scale to test and trial different things than you would with a super big company.
I mean, I agree. I think it's kind of like being like think of a blue whale versus, a dolphin. In this analogy, I'm the dolphin. I like jumping out of the water and being playful. I mean, I also think it's what attracts bigger companies to the smaller fish.
Totally.
Or the dolphins in this case. I guess I'm a dolphin. I do like dolphins. This question came up this weekend when my kids, we play this game sometimes at dinner of if you could be any animal, what would you be? I was a dolphin, although someone told me recently, I think an orca is a pretty baller animal. Apex predator. Sorry, little tangent brought to you by my ADHD. And this nice bubbler, antioxidant sparkling water.
With caffeine, right?
With caffeine, I'm sure it does.
Even better.
Yeah, it is better. But anyway, being small and nimble. And if something doesn't work, you can pivot super quick.
Totally.
I mean, I think of like a corporate structure, like you might create, months of content around a simple thing. And you're like, it's not working. It's like, well, we just invested a lot of money, time, and thought. It's not as easy to sort of like scrap it up and chuck it. And that's hard because sometimes you don't know when you should stay the course and when you should pivot.
Yeah.
How about you, Alyssa? Is there any, what are some notable mistakes that you've made in your career that you've sort of learned from in a positive way?
Oh man, put me on the spot. Let's see. I mean, I'm trying to think back to like, there's been a lot of pivoting. And I think that kind of goes back to what you were just saying. That's kind of the blessing of being a small, just kind of, there's a couple
nimble
of us.
Dolphin.
Nimble dolphin. I like that. I just picture you like.
Oh, that's totally what I would be doing.
Yeah, no, we've been able to pivot quite a bit and been able to get a feel for where things are going, what's working, what's not working. And it's myself. I have a copywriter, a Pinterest manager, and an amazing assistant that just kind of helps between all of us. At this point, we've got our systems down. But I think what I'm looking at right now and like what we were talking about with just the changes in my industry specifically with writing and with creating content. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to figure out exactly which way to go. And so, we've done that a little bit in the past. We've pivoted. And I think I kind of feel a little bit of a pivot in the future, just whether that's directly like how we are sharing what we do and how we're different versus, just the noise that's out in the world. And so I
mean, I think in general, if you're not innovating, you're sort of dying. And I think people that are afraid of change, I think there's a great quote. I think it was Marco Liberté shared it. Like, if you don't like change, you're gonna like what's the right word? Irrelevant. You're gonna like irrelevant. Wow, I can't say that word. Irrelevance. Yeah, if you don't like
irrelevant.
Yeah, if you don't like change, you're gonna like being irrelevant even less. And I think that was his point. Is like, in building science, people don't want to change. They want to build a home the way they always were. But like, sorry, that doesn't work anymore. And so I think like all of us, myself included, everyone, I think the faster we can come to market and we can change, but yet still stay true to our founding principles, whatever those might be. Because it's very rare that you would change a core principle. Like that would be, it's honestly catastrophic unless you, right? Because to change, it's not like you can change your personality. And if you do, like, that's probably a warning sign too, like, right? But I just think of like companies that, I think we've all consumed social media or print advertising or whatever. And maybe you see an established brand take a heart and you're like, whoa, what are they doing? But what did they learn from it? But a great example is Coca-Cola. They did was it New Coke? Was that in the late 90s? You guys are pretty young. But so they did this New Coke. So they wanted to change, they tried a new formula and people hated it. and they pivoted to classic Coke, which is the same thing but different branding, and their sales like doubled or tripled. But my point was that success was preceded by failure. They tried something, it didn't work. And I know Brad Robinson, who's one of my Curious Collective ambassadors down in Atlanta, is the first one that kind of told me this, and it's pretty common now. But fail fast. Don't be afraid of failure, but make sure you fail fast. Like a long, slow death. It sounds pretty terrible. I mean, just get it over with and like move on to the next idea.
Yeah. And I'm thankful to own my own business and to have that kind of the way to be able to just pivot and say, yeah, okay, we're going to try something different. Like that's definitely on my mind a lot, and how we're going to navigate just the world that we live in the future and what things are going to look like. So
I love it.
No.
Well, thanks for coming on the podcast. You guys are amazing. We'll have everything in the show notes. And thanks again for tuning in the Curious Builder podcast. Thanks for tuning in to the Curious Builder podcast. If you like this episode, do us a favor. Share it with 3 other business owners. The best way that we can spread what we're doing is by word of mouth. And with your help, we can continue to help other curious builders expand their business. Please share it with your friends, like and review online. And thanks again for tuning in.